and look what I found. Look what I found.
You gonna shut the car off?
Yes, babe. I'm not even thinking. I'm sorry.
Please, Steve.
You've been paying on this car for 3 months?
3 months.
What are you gonna do with the bank?
My lawyers figuring out.
Have you drove this car?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of miles on it?
No.
Oh.
No, I might have put 600, maybe not a ton. I don't even know if it's been that much.
Was he truthful when he told me I have some guy, he doesn't care about the price?
No.
He just wants to buy a Lambo with a different color, exotic color. That's what he told me to buy the car from me.
No.
That was a lie?
No. I had a gray one before this that he sold me. And
a gray newer one, like
I think
this is yours.
It was older than this. It might have been like a 2015 or something.
I thought it was mine.
Like a 2015.
Mm-hmm. And you traded that? Did you trade it in?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that different name on the stripe?
It is a different name.
You're killing me.
At the time, it was mine.
No, I know. Now, if you don't mind, did anybody call you about this car and say that, like, the owners are going to be coming from it or anything? Was there anybody that, like...
I saw your post.
My post?
The original one.
Okay.
Robbie called me a week ago. I was at a golf tournament. Actually, I got a call from another guy. Myself, John, I think John might have maybe reached out to you. Myself, John, this guy Jason, and Val were just fishing in Key Largo about a month and a half ago. So at that point, he knew he had done what he had done.
Yep. Did you say Rob too?
Let me finish. No, Rob wasn't on the fishing trip.
Okay.
So that Wednesday, I was at a golf tournament, and John called me, and he's like, "What's going on with Bull Auto? Are they closed?" And I said, "I have no idea if they're closed. I don't know." I said, "I'm at a golf tournament now. I haven't heard anything." Robbie texted me later on that day and said, he tried calling me twice, and then he texted me. Mm-hmm. And he said, "You call me ASAP." And I called him, and he goes, "Just so you know, Val has fucked everybody." He goes, "Your car may not be your car."
He fucking knew. He knew the whole time.
And I said, "Okay." He goes, I don't know when you made your video or whatever.
Wednesday.
You must have,
a week ago.
You must have asked him.
Yep.
And
Where
what he told me was he couldn't tell you guys out of confidentiality.
Which is bullshit.
He told us he didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. He told me he couldn't tell you because of confidentiality. I said, okay.
Not a doctor. He's not a lawyer. There's no confidentiality in a car dealership.
I said, okay. All right. I said, okay. I'm not sure what I can do with any of this information. I said, so the next day, a friend of mine sent me your post.
Gotcha.
And I looked at it, and I'm like, all right. I said, okay, I'm sure this is your car. And I went, all right. I'm just gonna, I said, but I'm like, now I'm going, like, I gotta get a hold of a lawyer. I gotta get him to tell me what I need to do.
Right.
So I had another friend that, knowing Val for 25 years, we all used to hang out together at his house.
Friendship.
And he called me.
What he did with us.
He called me on Thursday afternoon. I came home here for lunch, and he called me, and he's like, "Please tell me you're not involved in this." And I said,
Who called you?
Kenny.
Oh, okay, just a friend.
Yeah. And I said, to be honest, I think I'm balls deep in this.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not sure what to do. I got to try and find a lawyer or something. And he said, I may know one. I may know a guy. I'm going to tell him the story and see if he'll take the case.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, just,
What
let
is
me
the
know.
case though?
Well,
No, but what is the after, like, okay, I'm seeing a lawyer of the class action. I'm trying to get as many.
I'm going to jump in on that.
Good. Good.
Because
Good. Because another victim.
Because I have.
Good.
I mean, I have equity someplace.
Yeah.
No, you're a victim.
Right.
I'm doing victim impacts every fucking day until I get everybody, and there's like 30 or 40 people.
Yeah. So
you are a victim. Good.
So so Thursday goes. I've had other people calling me, and he's so John and I are going back and forth, and I called the next day. I talked to Kenny, and I said, any word with that? And he's like, he talked to his friend, and I talked to the lawyer Friday, and he's like, I told him the story, and he was like, he goes, okay, and he got to where he is, and then that night he's texting me, so what about this and what about that? And he's like, I'm obsessed with this now. And I'm like, cool. I said, I said, I understand lawyers like taking cases that are.
Was it a big ticketed? Did a big ticketed kind of law case?
Right. Yeah. So he's like, I said, okay. So we've been in communication. Someone came here Thursday, and I have no idea who it was, but I leave the door open. There's 4 houses, but I had the car covered up. Someone went in the garage, uncovered the car, must have took a picture of it. Was it you?
I wouldn't do something like that.
Okay. So yeah, then I went and bought cameras, but then Monday a tow truck pulled in here.
Yeah.
Not Monday. Would it be Thursday? You mean?
Monday.
No.
Oh, Monday. Okay.
Monday a tow truck was here.
And you know what really sucks is Rob could have said, if he's not involved, he could have said, like, you know what, Mike, your Lamborghini was sold by Val. He could have said that.
Yeah.
And it's over here on I don't want to give the street name, but it's over here.
Yeah.
And he could have, that could have maybe relieved me a little bit more. But now I think he is part of it.
I have no.
You
idea.
don't work in Albany a whole year.
Right.
I mean, he's worked there for 10 years or longer, but you don't work in Albany all this time while Val was in Jacksonville, signing names on every deal, and then say, I have no idea that.
I didn't do
I didn't do this, I didn't do this, but you're watching all this money and you're watching these victims. I know for a fact
Meanwhile,
now.
we had been calling him, like, I thought I could lean on Rob because Val was giving me,
A run around.
well, yeah, even though I was still trusting, then I started calling Robbie, like, where is our car? Like, the McLaren. We were waiting fucking forever to get the McLaren.
Yeah, we bought the McLaren April 5th. Then we get to May 17th.
Right.
And we had 2 cars, the Rolls Royce and this one.
Yeah.
And both of those, like, we're still making payments on both of those cars.
Right.
And I'm like, why isn't, if Val sold the Lambo, why is our bank note still open?
Right. Well, that's how I kept.
And Rob said, he's like, I saw the check that went out.
Right.
I thought Val took care of this.
Right.
I saw the fucking check went out, right?
You
Yeah,
know,
he actually said that a couple of
yeah.
times.
Rob-
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I've known Rob for years. I don't want to believe he was involved in this, but
Neither do I.
You know, I'm gonna keep that. I couldn't believe Val did this, but now that
Neither do I.
now that it's done like this, I 100% am like, you've got to be kidding me. Especially when I was with him a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Well, we were down at his place in
February.
Florida.
Yeah, so I
and,
was there in September.
Dinner.
Like, if you see my Facebook, I mean, I'm sure we're going to become friends.
Right.
If you see my Facebook page, you will see that she took a picture in front of their green Lambo. We went out to dinner that night. He gave me the Range Rover for the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you?
Hi. More cameras?
Yeah. But.
Well, at least you didn't damage it. You know this wasn't registered, right?
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
He gave me a dealer plate.
Yeah, but
He
it
did that to us too with the McLaren.
no, but it's not. From what I understand, if you give her a
It
dealer
is
plate,
registered,
now it is
but it had been registered up until May 16th.
right from us.
Under
Registered
us.
from
From
you.
us.
Uh,
I only turned in the plate May 16th.
So he could have fucked you by. This car was not insured or registered when you were driving it.
Yeah.
I had insurance on it.
Lucky for you, I don't know
Right.
how you were able to do
I
it.
don't know how he
Because
finagled that, but I
because
need
the
to call
cops
and cancel
ran
my
ran
insurance
because
now.
even I think with the temp tag it still gets like if a cop pulled you over with a temp tag they would call and say, okay, this is where the Lambo is, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. This car was never registered after we
Right.
sold it to him. So you would okay. So if you say it was insured, that's great for you.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm
Right.
not saying this to you. You won't get in trouble, but he could have fucked your license. And I know you need your license because I know the
Yeah.
work you do.
Yep.
So on top of all the money that you now got to fight for,
Right.
he could have fucked your livelihood up too,
Yeah.
because you would have had a suspended license.
Right. Yep.
Like, dirty man.
Yep. So, yeah, I had insurance on it, but I barely drove this. I drove it a couple 10 miles. I think I filled it up one time. So that will tell you how many miles I actually put on it.
The stick.
Probably less than 500.
I got to get that sticker changed. Megan. My wife is Rachel. Right, there's Megan on there.
Yeah. Well, that's my 9th Megan.
I gotcha.
Ninth car. Is it your 9th car?
It's. I think I actually started with. I started with a. In 2002, I bought a.
Maserati.
Not from him. I bought a
Maserati.
Corvette. I bought that from a Cooperstown. So that's kind of where I started. You know.
That was ours too.
And then. You know, I met him and he's like, "Oh, you got to get rid of that," and I'm like, "I'm keeping this forever."
We did the same thing to him.
So, so then I started seeing some of the stuff that he was bringing in, and I'm like, that's when I told him. I said, "All right, find me a Maserati." I said, we'll start with that, and that was an entry level car.
They're hot now.
So I had that for 2 years. I never named that one, but then I bought a yellow Ferrari Medina 360. That became Megan 1.
Okay.
And then it just started from there. Then I did have an orange Gallardo. At
Okay.
one point.
I seen it. I
We
did my
some
research.
stalking.
Yeah.
I had to.
I know.
I had that. Then I traded that for an R8.
Beautiful car.
I
Was it blue?
I couldn't stand it. It was
Oh.
black, all black. It,
I didn't
it
see
had
that one.
like a maroon. It was a convertible. It had a maroon top. But I couldn't stand it because I really don't like black. Somebody that had it, just take it and sell it. So we sold it. I bought a McLaren MP4,
Okay.
white one.
That must have been in like 2018. I remember that white McLaren in his showroom.
Yeah.
Did you buy it from Val?
I bought it from Val.
Yep.
And then I bought, then I traded that. I bought 2 of his Karmas.
Yep.
I bought 2 of those. And
The
then,
green one, the saguaro green one with blue interior by any
No,
chance?
no.
Okay.
I bought,
No.
I traded the white one because it was just bleeding money because McLaren had made they advanced there so many times. So it was, the 650, 720, blah, blah, blah. Then it just,
I bought
so-
the 650 from him.
a
He had
blue one.
a black.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't like
You
that
did see
blue
the
one.
blue one though.
All right. I had seen that other people that I know had that car before
Yep.
I bought it.
Wait, you said a blue one. Are you talking about the 570 or the
No,
because
the
we
six-
we sold him back the 650 and 570.
I bought a 650S
hmm
that another friend of ours at one point owned. So I bought
That was the blue one.
the blue one.
We remember he tried selling us that car.
Yeah.
I
didn't
bought that.
like it.
That had black interior. It was real vanilla inside.
Yeah, I think yeah.
The rims upgraded
And
it. Someone
then,
put black rims on it.
Then I bought then I traded that, and he sold me a gray Huracan,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I got that in like beginning of November, and he's just like, just drive it
Last year?
for a couple months, yeah, just drive
You
it for a
just
couple
got
months.
it? The
Yeah,
gray
I bought that.
Was that deal okay?
Yeah, that was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely had a loan on it, and I was paying
Did
the
you
loan.
get the title and all?
No, because I just drove it with the dealer plate,
Gotcha.
and then I bought. I gave that back to him. I only drove it for like a month and a half. He's just like, just drive it until and then we'll work on getting you something,
Mm-hmm.
something better. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, a Lambo.
Did you?
Well,
Did that loan ever get satisfied?
yes,
Okay.
but I was in the same boat you were too. Like on the blue McLaren, he's like, just pay the next payment and I'll send you the money. And I said,
he did that with almost every one of our cars.
Never.
and
Only this deal.
No, you say remember the
Oh, he
McLaren?
told us to make. The
No,
next
remember
payment.
remember that one McLaren? He ran late on the payment.
The payoff. The payoff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought.
right. So he just told me,
Make the
"Ma-
payment.
make the payment.
They'll
I'll
make
send
it
you
up."
I'll send you the payment. So he sent the money, and then the same with the gray car. So now I have 2 of them out there that he's not paying off, and he's like, just make the payments, and I'll send you the money. Well then, now at this point it's like 2 months into the McLaren not being paid off, and I said
This was in November.
November, December.
That's when it started for us too.
So
That's when the lies started.
he said, so I called him because I'm getting calls from the bank. Why isn't this getting paid off? And I said, you need to contact the dealer. He was supposed to pay you off. I don't even have this car anymore. And they were like, well, you're still on the loan. I said,
The bank's
okay.
like, our agreement
So
is with you.
I called him and I'm like, dude, what's the problem here? Why isn't this getting paid off? And he's like, oh, make the payment so it doesn't screw up your credit, and I'll send you the money. And I went, okay. And he told me some story of he was trying to get Alfa Romeo down in Jacksonville, and he needed to have like $2 million in his bank account to make those. So that's why he wasn't, he wanted to have the money in his bank.
So at least now we're getting, and if that's true, at least now we're getting a story why he became a thief and tried to get all the money from everybody.
So that's what he told me, but I know but then,
there were so many lies.
Right, because then my friend John called me and he's like, hey, did you hear about Val's father? And I said, no. He goes, yeah, I guess his father's over in Bulgaria and he's having heart issues or something like that. Val wants to get him back here to, he thinks the doctors over here are better. And I said, okay, I'll text him and, I hope your father's doing okay. And he never really answered. He just sent one of the emojis like, thanks for reaching out or whatever.
His dad worked for him.
Oh yeah, for years. Yeah, I did work at his father's house.
Yeah.
I did plumbing work for all of them.
Right.
And
he told me that his father needed a kidney.
yeah, so he was just fabricating stories at that point.
Yeah, because then someone else we heard
Someone
a
else
heart
told
problem.
us about his father needed open heart surgery.
Mhm.
Right. So now it comes, whatever, full circle. But he ended up paying off those 2 cars, so I'm not.
You're okay on
I'm
this.
not.
But you're not okay.
I'm not okay on this.
Yeah.
But the bank should have really never written the loan for this car.
No.
No, not with.
Can you tell me how much you paid for this?
I can't because
It's fine.
I never signed. He did all the paperwork down in Jacksonville. And next thing
So
I
you
know
don't know how much you owe
Next
the
thing I
bank?
know is I'm getting here's a coupon. Make your first payment in
Oh my God.
March. I think March 7th was my first payment.
Oh my God. All this more like trauma bonding. He had that. That's why I asked about the green Karma. He had bought it from Val, and it has 4 different liens on it.
Yeah.
And then another gentleman reached out to us, and was explaining that he had bought a Karma from Val.
Yeah.
And he never actually got a title. He had a dealer plate
Right.
the whole time. He had a loan, $65,000 loan.
Yeah.
And he drove it for like 4 months, and there was a white Lambo there, and went to Val and was like, what, I would really rather have this car. Can you,
I think that's John.
It was John Delano's car. The white Lambo was John's.
Right, but my friend John.
Does he live in Endicott?
Yeah, he lives down by Binghamton.
That's
reached
John.
out to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's one of them.
John is
Yes.
going to do a
One
story
of 'em.
with
Yep.
us.
That's
Yep.
crazy
John-
that
yep.
you know him. Yeah,
He's one of the guys I went fishing with.
Oh.
John is one. John became our friend through this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously we're making friends all over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But John, he told us that he's the one. He's out the $65,000. Never actually owned the car. We found out who has the car, and that title has 4 loans on it. One of them is John's.
Right.
It's
But
fucking
John, I
criminal.
think is. I talk to John every day, and
We've been talking to John, and John has become
John's
friends
reached
with
out
like
to
Mike and everybody now.
Yeah.
Like we all got together, like
yeah,
I said in my last video with the victim statement from Mike. The car world, even though you don't realize how big it is, it's small until
Right.
you're in it.
yeah.
And when you're in it, you wind up meeting people,
Yeah.
and
I
Yeah.
never thought this car was local, ever.
yeah.
I figured
Well,
you would
it's
see it.
it's.
And
that's
or and it'd be-
lucky for you guys,
And we,
and that someone is not screw you or whatever.
well, we are kind of screwed.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
because we took a second loan out
Yeah.
on another car. Now,
Yeah.
which, like I was telling him, we
Right.
don't have the title to it. Like, all of that is, we're still waiting for the McLaren title.
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Which
And we
who knows where that
right?
is? If that's at Bolt Auto someplace.
like
who
I said,
knows?
we have it good like one Lamborghini payment, but we don't have it that good where we can now have 2 exotic car payments.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
we're
was
like-
always like,
Like, it's scary now. Because in the meantime, we also bought a brand new pickup truck.
Right.
And then we bought another tractor.
Yeah, we were both of those loans, this loan and the Wraith, were going away.
Yeah.
Those payments were supposed to be gone.
Right.
Yeah, so when I say a tractor, I mean a tractor trailer, you know, which you can imagine is very expensive.
Right. Yeah.
So now we have another tractor that we bought.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is this for you?
We
Oh,
kept
no.
making the payments to not ding our credit.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. But I know I told...
Yeah, credit is king. I mean, especially when you're in this world.
I told Community Bank, because I was the one that informed them that the business was closed yesterday.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Wow.
So the people I talked to, you know, because I called them on... Did I call them on Monday? Call them on Monday. I was supposed to get a call back by the end of the day. I didn't get a call. So I called on Tuesday, and I talked to the girl, and I'm like, all right, can you just, I'll give you the account information. Can you see if anyone left any, you know, like comments or anything in there on the account for someone looking into it? And she told me that Wednesday when I was talking to her, she's like, oh, a lot of people have been in this account today.
A lot of people what?
Have been in the account. Have been looking at my account. And I went, oh, okay. And she's like, can you hold on? She made some internal phone calls and then got back on the phone with me, and she says, I'm going to have you talk to this girl. And I said, okay, you know, put her on the phone. And I expressed to her, I'm like, I don't know how you could have written this loan with a title that wasn't clean. I'm not getting that.
Right.
And she's like, well, we're trying to get in touch with the dealership and get this straightened out. I said, well, I'm going to stop you right there. I said, because the dealership is closed and no one can find the owner. And she's like, excuse me? I said, the dealership is closed and no one can find the owner. So if you don't have the title or know where that is, I said, you're not getting it. And she was like, okay. I said, but at least, I said, at the end of the day, my lawyer wanted me to at least get the VIN number that was associated with my paperwork to see if it was actually for this car.
Yeah.
Was it?
It
Obviously.
was.
Okay.
It was. So I told him that.
Yeah, because you said you had another hurricane.
Right.
So that could have been scary.
So I got another phone call yesterday. Someone called me from Community Bank, and she's like, you know, we're seeking legal counsel now.
Yeah.
We had to send someone from a branch out to just really make sure that the dealership was closed. And I said, oh yes it is. I said, and there's a lot of people who are angry. And she's like, okay. She goes, we're seeking legal counsel. I suggest you do the same. I said, I already have an attorney on retainer. I said, but here we are, you know, and I'm telling her too. I said,
Did he even try to reach out to you and apologize or anything? I heard he tried to apologize to a floor planner or something one time.
No, he didn't. No.
Just like, fuck you, I got your money, I robbed you, I was never a real friend.
I was telling him on the phone, like, that was the hardest part for me to accept.
Yeah. Still hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having a hard time talking bad about him. I know there's a lot of people out there saying bad words about him.
I still do. I'm like, this guy was my friend for years.
It's hard.
For years to call him, you know, I can't believe you did that, you know, and, you know, you're whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there was a part when we went in February, when we went to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
When he was in Albany, that was the only Val I knew.
Right.
Val and Nadia.
Yeah.
And when we went there in February, we got there at like 11:30 in the morning, and he sent a car, his driver, to come pick us up.
At the
I'm
airport?
like, we don't deserve this. Like, we're not even here to see you. I mean, we were going to do dinner, but like, we were there on our business.
Right.
Trucking business.
Yeah. And it was like, this VIP level of service, because we had been talking about buying a house in Florida too.
Right.
So, and we had talked to him about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to move down there,
Yeah.
not to Jacksonville, West Coast,
Right.
but still, it was, they bought the house there. And he had said, when we got to his dealership, he was showing us around.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I smelled, like, when I saw him, he came up and gave me a big hug.
Yeah.
And I smell alcohol on him. And that was never, and I said to him, because our business has been way up and it's
Right.
been way down.
Yeah.
So we've ridden.
Right.
And-
Highs and lows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I'm like, is he okay? Like, is he struggling? Because we were that tight with
Right.
him where I'm like, if he is, I want him to tell me. Like,
Right.
you can kind of hold somebody's
Right.
hand through
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And, but I never thought to ask him that. We went out to dinner. It was 4 of us.
Yeah.
The bill was $1,200, which we snatched because we didn't want him paying because,
Right.
and it was more like, we don't have that $1,200 dinner lifestyle.
Right.
But at the same time, when you're doing that multiple times a week,
Right. Yeah.
he was not that person here.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
He was a Delmonico's person.
Yes.
Here.
But you can't grow like I think I mentioned on the video. Maybe I didn't, but you can't put yourself before the business. Your
Right.
business has to grow, and then if your business allows for that lifestyle, by all
Right.
means.
Well, I think here he built a reputation here at the corner.
A good one.
He did.
At the corner.
Oh,
Yep.
Right
I
up
never
there.
knew him when he was
Yeah.
here.
He
I knew
built a
him
reputation right there at that corner.
when I started.
You know.
Did you meet Jerry?
I've met Jerry. He built a reputation right there. And then when he got up there to where he is, things just started flourishing for him. And I always remember him saying he wanted to be a franchise owner. And then Karma approached him and
He did
he
it.
finally did it. He got his dream.
Yep.
Yep.
When
Had 3 franchises: Vanderhall and Alfa
Right.
Romeo.
Right. Yes. Yep. But, yep.